Hello, and welcome to Westerville City Schools Special Education Family Engagement Forum, October 17th, 2023. Let's meet the Special Education Leadership Team. Gertie Glass, Executive Director, Specialized Learning Programs. Suzanne Kyle, Director of Preschool. Adam Fluge, Director of Special Education. Special Education Coordinators, Joel Fogel, Dr. Elizabeth Jelkin, Lisa Reichvost, Mike Seitz, and Lindy Whitson. The Parent Mentor Project. Stephanie Thomas is Westerville City Schools parent mentor, and her contact information can be found here. The Parent Mentor Project in Ohio is a project where parents of children with disabilities provide free peer-to-peer support to other families of children with disabilities. They use their firsthand experiences to work with school officials and guide families to increase the educational success of students who receive special education services. Mrs. Thomas helps families navigate local and state special education processes and services so that children with disabilities can get the most out of their educational experience. They use their passion and experience to create strong partnerships by helping families understand the rights and responsibilities of families, students, and schools, transitioning from preschool and high school, contributing to the increase in student success like in literacy, guiding families through special education meetings, hosting information sessions, and connecting families and educators with agencies and other organizations that support children with disabilities. So please reach out to Ms. Thomas if you have any questions or concerns, and she can help you navigate the special education process in Westerville schools. The Special Education Parent Advisory Council, the CPAC. This year, this is a new initiative for the Special Education Department. Ms. Thomas and Linda Freeman Walker, who is one of our parents in the district, will be spearheading the new advisory council. Ms. Freeman Walker's contact information is here on this slide. We will be hosting the first meeting very soon, so please look for advertising and more information about the new CPAC. Special Education 101, an overview of the special education process. The purpose of special education services. There are two main purposes: to provide access to general education with peers in the least restrictive environment, and to provide specialized instruction that will assist students in becoming more independent. There are some common terms that you'll often see in special education. AU stands for autism, ID, intellectual disability, ED, emotional disturbance, OHI, other health impaired, major or minor, FBA, functional behavior assessment, BIP, behavior intervention plan, MD, multiple disabilities, SLD, specific learning disability, IEP, individualized education program, ETR, evaluation team report, TPC, Transition Planning Conference, preschool only, EI, Early Intervention, SLC, Specialized Learning Classroom, and CC, Cross-Categorical. The Child Find Process. The Child Find Process really consists of three separate processes. First is the Suspected Disability Process, and that is a process initiated by parents or teachers in which data is collected and the team convenes to discuss whether or not a student is suspected of having a disability. If they are, then an evaluation team report would be written after a multifactored evaluation is completed. And then if the student qualifies, an individualized education program would be written. An ETR is good for 3 years, repeated every 3 years, and the IEP every year. Again, this is a pictorial that shows the child find process starting at the top with a referral, a disposition of the referral. That's that suspected disability process I just talked about, the evaluation, a determination of eligibility, then the development and approval of an IEP, placement of the student, and then monitoring. This is another visual of that process. There are really 10 basic steps in special education, starting with identification of the child, and that is the child find process we just talked about, that evaluation, eligibility, the IEP meeting, and then special education services are put into place, including accommodation, modification, and support. Progress is monitored, that IEP is reviewed at least once a year, and then that reevaluation at least every 3 years. So who's at the IEP table? Well, the student, if they are old enough to participate in their IEP meeting, it's wonderful to have their input. Of course, parents, general education teachers, specialists like intervention specialists, administrators, and any related service personnel that work with a student. Again, these are the members of the team, the intervention specialists, general education teacher, a district representative, perhaps an adapted physical education teacher or a teacher of the visually impaired. And then related services include occupational therapist, physical therapist, speech language pathologist, mental health specialist, and transition specialist. The evaluation team report, conducted every 3 years, although it may be conducted sooner. School psychologists or speech and language pathologists are the case managers, depending upon if the student only has speech as a concern or other academic issues. The planning form is completed before beginning each ETR, and the ETR examines many aspects of the student, including their background, their academics, behavior, their social emotional status, any medical information that might be applicable, related services, their cognition, information from general education teachers, information from the intervention specialist, intervention information, and then a copy of the student's ETR is available in their cumulative file, as well as the intervention specialist also has a copy. So that evaluation team report can also be a record review if full evaluation isn't available. It could be a waiver where the parents and the district agree not to conduct a new 3-year reevaluation. But generally speaking, it will be a new evaluation every 3 years. And there are 3 questions that have to be asked to determine eligibility. First of all, it can't be due, the student's poor performance may not be due to a lack of appropriate instruction or English language status. So as long as a student has had appropriate instruction and language is not an issue, then we would answer yes to the first question. Whether or not the student meets state criteria for having a disability, and then whether or not the student demonstrates an educational need that requires specially designed instruction. Individualized education program. That program is informed by the results of the ETR. The services on the IEP determine the child's location of service. It's really a comprehensive picture of the student through the profile, present levels of performance, goals, and specially designed instruction. It also includes transition, accommodations, modifications, and transportation. The IEP is completed annually. Meetings and amendments can occur as needed, and a copy of the IEP is available in the student's cumulative file. So what are the sections of the IEP? Future planning. This is the parent and the student's vision for their future. Instructional factors. These will be the items that are addressed in the IEP. The profile of the student, which is a snapshot of the student. Extended school year. This is a data-driven discussion based upon regression without recoupment. Transition for students turning 14 years or older to support post-secondary outcomes. The goals. These are measurable skills for which the student receives specially designed instruction with progress monitoring. That specially designed instruction is a description of the intervention services that'll be delivered to the student based upon the goals being addressed. Related services such as speech and language, occupational therapy, physical therapy that support student needs to access a curriculum. Assistive technology. Technology supports to address an area of deficit to provide access to the curriculum or school environment. Accommodations change how a student learns material. Modifications changes what a student is taught or expected to learn. Support for school personnel. Staff-to-staff collaboration to support students, and that may include training. Services to support medical needs, if there is a medical plan on file. Transportation to describe the student's needs and possible supports. Non-academic and extracurricular activities. This is a description of the student's access to activities. General factors. This is a checklist to ensure that the IEP team discusses the whole child. Least restrictive environment, a description of the student's services and the location of services. Statewide and district-wide testing page describes the type of district and statewide tests along with possible accommodations. Exemptions, addressed if there are applicable tests that allow for possible exemption from retention or graduation. Meeting participant, captures the IEP team members' attendance only. Signatures, captures consent to implement the IEP. And if a child has a visual impairment, there's an additional section of the IEP the team will complete. Accommodations. Accommodations focus on the how. They reduce or eliminate the impact of the student's disability. They maintain achievement and expectations. Modifications. These focus on the what. They change the assignment, making it less material or less complex. They change the core content standard, and they change performance expectations. In the classroom, we use the format and outline of special education as an opportunity to embrace a new thought, a new approach to instruction. Special education historically has given birth to many tools and philosophies used in the general education system. Examples of that include universal design and response to intervention. Common ways to support a student in the classroom. You can pair visual with an auditory, for instance, reading with pictures. Audio, like Audio Boom, books on CD or Audible. Graffiti walls. Chunking or breaking down assignments into smaller pieces. Don't be afraid of technology, like apps. Use music to cue. Brain breaks, involving movement, and Post-it, highlighter, and colored pencils. So what resources are available in the district? There's Google Read and Write to support students with their reading and writing skills. Equatio to support them in math. Sora or Bookshare to provide that audio version for books. The Special Education Technology website, which contains a wide variety of resources that can be accessed, and the accessibility cheat sheet. And this is a reference. The accessibility reference or cheat sheet is a very comprehensive guide on the website that talks about different accommodations that are available and different ways to provide those accommodations based on student need. There are also smartphone features, conversation boost to make clearer connections, and sound recognition, sound the alarm without hearing a sound. We appreciate you attending our special education family engagement forum today. If you have any questions or feedback, please scan the QR code to ask specific questions. Thank you.